What up, everyone? I am the Comic Outlaw, and you know my name, you know my game, and we're gonna be doing a movie review, a WWE movie review, but it's gonna be a little classic here. We're gonna be doing wrestling of the '80s. Hell yes. Now, this was a very different time. This is when Vince McMahon started to pull everything together, because back in the day, wrestling was in territories. The McMahons ran like New York and a couple other places, like small places. There was a place that ran half of Texas. There was the AWA. There was the NWA that eventually became the WCW. They ran the southern area. There was Mid-South Wrestling. There was a lot of different territories, and they all played on different stations, because back in the day, television wasn't as united as it is now. They had independent stations that would play like local stuff, and this is how these territories thrived. But Vince McMahon started to buy up all the territories, and he started to take all the talent and made one big one. And then also we had WCW, which was kind of a conglomerate of NWA and some of the other stuff that kind of just got thrown into the mix when Ted Turner bought it all. And eventually there was only WWE, and now there's little organizations like TNA, the Japan Wrestling, a couple other ones, that hopefully a Ring of Honor that I hope will be coming up. It would be nice to have more competition. I feel the wrestlers really don't have a stage like they should. Like an Austin Aries, for example, I feel like he got really screwed over in WWE. But that's just my humble opinion. Well, that's neither here or there. We're reviewing the 80s. And yes, this is a 3-disc set. Check it out. Boom. And this has all the greats. It has Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper, of course, Ric Flair, people like Sergeant Slaughter, who had the first theme music, or at least they give him credit for it, which I do believe. Bob Orton, Cowboy Bob Orton, of course, the father of Randy Orton, and sidekick to Roddy Piper, of course. Bobby the Brain Heenan, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Arn Anderson, which is very cool because I believe Arn Anderson should get a bump. Arn Anderson is a great wrestler that I feel sometimes does not get the credit that he deserves. He was the enforcer of the Four Horsemen, and I love the man, his accomplishments. He's a great worker in the ring. It was sad the way he retired. Of course, Dusty Rhodes, Bobby the Brain Heenan, the Iron Sheik. It's a Junkyard Dog. A few others, the DVD is really cool. It takes you down memory lane. It shows you the retro side, and maybe even a funner side where wrestling was a little more innocent. Where they kind of had the idea of heroes and villains. And the classic heroes. Like, everything has to evolve. Okay, just like comic books. Like, if you compare the comic books, like the Justice League of the 60s to the way it is now, it has certainly evolved from a more cartoonish, where everybody sounds like the same character, to more diversity, to more depth. And sometimes we lose a little bit of that innocence. But it's always good to have nostalgia. I like to say rest in peace to Mean Gene Okerlund. I thought the segment with Hulk Hogan was very classy. I'm just going to say that now. I love how they gave Mean Gene his due. So, R.I.P. to Mean Gene Okerlund. It's another reason I'm doing this wrestling of the 80s. I mean, it includes everyone, like Jerry the King Lawler even. It's really, really cool. It's worth looking at. It's worth a watch. And for those new kids, millennials or whatever, that want to know about wrestling but don't want to sit there for hours and hours and watch endless footage, or have people recommend this match and that match and that match, and you're not really feeling it. This just gives you a rough idea. And it's cool. It gives you interview segments. It gives you, short little stories on who they were, what they did, what they accomplished, and a little bit of where they are. And it's very cool. I recommend it as a gift. It does trigger that nostalgia especially if you grew up watching it. I mean, I've seen Hulk Hogan live. I saw Hulk Hogan take on Sergeant Slaughter in a little town a long time ago. A long time ago. Miles away, but that was long ago and far away, as the song says. Highly recommend it. Loved it. And it's just really cool that they kind of just pulled that together. The 90s one, it's okay, but this one is really cool. It really turns the nostalgia up to 11, and I highly recommend it. Great gift for anyone, any of those wrestling fans out there that just want to learn more about the history of wrestling. And it does put things in a rose-colored tint, but we already have enough shows, and I myself and many others are cynical assholes, and we do often let you know what really happened behind the curtain. But it's nice to wear those rose tinted glasses and just watch a feel good DVD, with your favorite heroes and villains of the past and just these nice little bios on them. So, like I said, greatest wrestling stars of the 80s. Recommend it. Go out, buy the DVD. Yes. And this is your main man, Jack Slater, the comic outlaw. The man who is out of bubble gum and is always down to kick some ass. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Laters.